We have been nearly overwhelmed with all that has happened over the last few weeks, but I have still spent some time doing my own research when I can. These phantoms, the vortex. Fascinating subject, really. If only there were some less disastrous way we could have discovered all this. Yes, exactly. I am glad I am not the only one who can see that. Does nothing to make the loss any easier, but still. We have encountered several interesting phenomena. First, while the phantoms shift to a fully human form when killed, they often retain small shards that appear to be an almost crystallized version of vortex energy. Second, we have learned that killing the phantoms sometimes causes an even greater disturbance. Horrors, as they have been colloquially termed, can appear from somewhere. We are unsure of their origin, but it is not within our universe. These horrors and their spawn are infested with cysts, a seemingly organic manifestation of vortex energy. We have managed to collect enough to run experiments and have devised a method of combining them into an explosive mixture with varying properties. While they have no use in the development of the morning device, if you find yourself out in the field, I believe they could have more practical applications. I do hope you are not questioning the thoroughness of my research. I assure you, they will work. The process is simple enough that any industrial workstation should suffice, if you have the materials. And, depending on how you combine said materials, you may find the results to be somewhat variable. I hope you can use that to your advantage. Just look around. I'm sure you have at least some idea of how much we have physically lost. A huge portion of the city is just gone. And those left behind are struggling. Supplies are limited. There is so much work to be done, and we are all just so tired. I hope that eventually we can return things to the way they were, but we must be realistic. That will take time, and I suspect a great deal of it. Not enough to have prevented it from happening. If I had any idea it was going to turn out like this, It had been Inasco's primary goal for some time. A way to recreate Jinan Varun's encounter with the Great Serpent. Everything we knew about grav drive technology, every scientific advancement we'd made in the last 100 years was poured into it. Towards the end, I was just so exhausted. I asked for a brief time off. Had I not, I would be trapped in there with the rest of the science team. Yes, I am sure that is how some would see it. I left the project weeks before the disaster, and at that point, we were nowhere near ready. Some breakthroughs were made shortly thereafter, and they ran the experiment. And here we are. Yes, depending on how much trouble you're getting into. We have been nearly overwhelmed with all that has happened over the last few weeks, but I have still spent some time doing my own research when I can. These phantoms, the vortex. Fascinating subject, really. If only there were some less disastrous way we could have discovered all this. I know. I have lost friends and colleagues myself. We have encountered several interesting phenomena. First, while the Phantoms shift to a fully human form when killed, they often retain small shards that appear to be an almost crystallized version of Vortex energy. Second, we have learned that killing the Phantoms sometimes, these horrors, we have managed to, well, they have. Well then, allow me to provide you with a few starting samples. The process is simple enough that any industrial workstation should suffice, if you have the materials. And, depending on how you combine said materials, you may find the results to be somewhat variable. I hope you can use that to your advantage.
I wonder what your serpent guide you, Harbinger.
You can't be serious granting them an audience. This is exactly the impression we don't want to give.
Please, do you see how all this works in our favor? It's not up for discussion. I won't risk what we worked so hard to achieve. It's done.
No, you'd risk future and reputation as a house. But you are the chosen elder. Good to see you.
Don't patronize me. The Great Serpent spared our house. We are favored here. And shouldn't you get back to the council? We can't afford to be absent at a time like this. So, AORUS has sent our newest Harbinger to inquire about Sahima. Don't worry. Jimal's already told me all about you. I'm Razma, Elder of House Kadik and head of the Ministry of Conjunction. The Ministry of Conjunction is one of the 3 government branches of our society. We deal in information to ensure the High Council can make educated decisions. Most of our work is highly classified. Even the High Council itself may not be aware of all that we're involved in. House Kadik is one of the 3 noble houses under House Varun. We've a reputation on being the more moderate of the 3. Not as fervent as House Vithal, and not as passive as House Dolkef. We're also largely associated with the Ministry of Conjunction, since I lead the department. Well, it's also an honor to meet one as interesting as yourself. I wouldn't have suspected an outsider to be made promised, but who am I to argue with the Great Serpent's choice? I know the Council is looking to Sahima for answers, but the truth is, she's been taken, along with other members of the House. They're being held hostage by Zealots, and now they're demanding negotiations.
This is a major overreach. I have never known the Zealots to be so bold.
As much as I'd welcome the expertise, the Zealots would never allow an outsider to participate. But the negotiations aren't where I need assistance. The Zealots have yet to name specifics. At best, they'll demand an inordinate amount of credits or firearms. Worst case, a seat at the High Council or even the reinstatement of their house. House Maleen. They know we can't risk Sahima for Dazra's sake. So, they won't hold back when it comes to demands. They had a house. House Malene was abandoned a long time ago, but there are some who'd want to see it reinstated. House Malene was fully dedicated to Jandar Varun. They objected when his brother, Jarek, was chosen to take over as leader. They knew he would bring an end to the Serpent's crusade. It's why they abandoned their house and became the Zealots you know today, to continue what they believe is Jinan and Jandar's work. Jinan Varun had twin sons, Jarek and Jandar. Jandar fully supported the Serpent's crusade, and to many in House Malene, was the best suited to take over for his father. Aha. My thoughts exactly. Normally I'd have agents doing everything possible to find them. But we too suffered losses. We need to be here. Present. I couldn't risk more lives. It's the only reason I even agreed to these negotiations. But now that you're here, I can finally take action. And that's where the issue lies. I don't know where the Zealots are keeping Sahima, but I have a good idea who does. Their name is Merrick. Merrick is a Kadik, and they also work for me as an agent in the Ministry of Conjunction. This is where matters get complicated. Then you can put those skills to good use. As I said, Merrick works for me in the Ministry of Conjunction. They've been establishing an inside relationship with the Zealots for some time now, on my orders. Forcing them to give up the information could jeopardize all they've worked for. So don't expect them to be forthcoming. Get the information any way you see fit, as long as no physical harm comes to them.
Understood.
The Zealots don't trust easily. If their location was discovered, Merrick would most likely be the first they'd suspect. They'd never trust them or any agent of House Kadik again. The people of Dazra look to us elders for strength and guidance. We cannot fail them at a time like this. Don't let my composure fool you, promised? It's neither easy, nor something I take lightly. What better way to surveil a threat? It's important for us to know what the Zealots may be targeting, to stay one step ahead. Merrick is proud of what they've accomplished, so I doubt they'll give up information easily. If being persuasive isn't your strong suit, perhaps appealing to their substantial ego may help. If you can stomach it. Just don't be direct. I'm sure it would put them on the defensive. Either that, or make them completely unwilling to talk. See that you do. You'll find Merrick upstairs in the meditation room. Hopefully, Merrick will be forthcoming. Great Serpent keep you.
You're no member of House Kadik. What are you doing here? Oh, so you're the heretic turned harbinger who thinks they're one of us now. So tell me, what would a chosen one such as yourself want with someone like me? Oh, I certainly don't. I may have many talents, but mind reading isn't one of them. After all I've done. I guess this means the High Council is still asking Auntie Razma where Sahima is. And if you're here making demands, she obviously has decided to make use of you rather than undergo sincere negotiations. I see what's going on here. Well, I am one of the few to garner any amount of trust with the Zealots, so she should be. I can't imagine where the Ministry of Conjunction would be without me. It's hardly work if it comes naturally. It's nice to see I'm being properly recognized. I may excel in my skills, but it doesn't mean the hours I put in are any less. From flattery to insults. Whatever game you're playing at is obviously over, so why don't you go harass someone else? Promised? As I was saying, I can't imagine where the Ministry of Conjunction would be without me. I do have a natural talent. It's nice to see I'm being properly recognized. I may excel in my skills, but it doesn't mean the hours I put in are any less. Exactly. There's still research, analysis, documentation. Too much documentation, if you ask me. But altogether, I have the exact talents needed to do this job, which is why I was entrusted with the Zealots in the first place. I admit it hasn't always been easy. They are Zealots, you know. I see you're familiar with standard Zealot tactics, but it's really all about crafting the perfect scenario to encounter the right one. You don't just waltz up and say hello. It takes a great deal of surveillance and profiling to determine the right approach. You have no idea. I can't even tell you how much time and effort it's been to sway the Zealots my way. Not to mention the stress over my own personal well-being. I may be the best at what I do, but I'm not stupid. The Zealots do have the element of unpredictability. I was wondering when your own agenda would come into play. I've worked hard to obtain my position with the Zealots. And like I've told Rosma 1,000 times, I have no reason to believe they're going to hurt my dear cousins, especially Sahima. So, as far as I'm concerned, that information stays with me. As much as I'd like to help you, I don't think so. When you put it that way. If anything, they are unpredictable. Point taken. Yes, it's something I have considered. All right, I'll let you in on their location. But remember, you're the only one that knows. If word spreads, I'll know exactly who's to blame. The location you're looking for is Shadow Station Epsilon. It's an old Varun base that they've taken over for themselves. Rosma will know it. Let her tell you the details, seeing as how I'm about to be reassigned. Isn't the answer obvious? The Zealots will know the location came from me. All that hard work thrown out the window because someone refuses to undergo negotiations. You do that.
I pray you were successful. You must have gotten the location. I figured they wouldn't be completely forthcoming. If my intel is correct, you can find Shadow Station Epsilon in the Badlands, north of Dazra. I can send you the coordinates. The Shadow Stations were established during the Serpent's Crusade. A series of secret military installations that few knew about, and even fewer may remember. The idea was to have isolated centers focused on different aspects of furthering the Crusade. This way, if one fell, it wouldn't endanger the others. Epsilon was once a research station, with a focus on grav drive manipulation. The Zealots have since vastly expanded upon it. But it makes sense if they intend to use Sahima to their advantage. Shadow Station Epsilon is one of many Zealot bases scattered throughout. As I mentioned before, I wasn't willing to risk agent lives in order to scout them all. The sooner the better.
We will do whatever is necessary to bring Sahima and the others back safely.
Now that we have a rescue mission underway, I'll speak to Merrick about setting up the negotiations. I expect them to be pliable after their last encounter with you. The current plan is to hold them at one of the geothermal power stations. Meet us there when Sahima and the others are safe. Good. Serpent willing. Your timing will line up. I'll stall the Zealots as long as I can, which shouldn't be an issue. That being said, I'd still appreciate it if you could act quickly. Now, Jamal wants an update before you leave. Just don't let her distract you for too long.
Harbinger, a word before you go. Tell me, Harbinger, what do you know about the Zealots?
Better here than finding ways to be as invasive as possible like House Mathal.
For me, it's being an executor.
I'm impressed. You've already learned quite a bit from your time with us. The Zealots are widely frowned upon within our society. They're a remnant of the Serpent's Crusade, days we'd like to forget. Has my dear sister given you any history on our house's relations with the Zealots? I see. I should have expected as much. Razma would have everyone believe she only wishes to keep an eye on the Zealots, so the Council can make informed decisions. The truth is, she's had this particular group of Zealots under her thumb for quite some time. This is only a problem now because she's lost control. That is the real reason why Razma hasn't informed the High Council, and I'm sworn to silence.
I would argue that what you describe would be considered treason. And rightly so.
House Khadik already has a reputation for being sympathetic to the Zealots, but the truth is far worse. Razma wants the Zealots to back House Khadik, so the balance of power between the noble houses would shift to us. She's been employing them, paying them in supplies that aid their blind crusade. There are several members who are sympathetic toward them or their cause. Some see beyond their extremist veneer and believe they're just misguided. A very small few may believe Jandar truly was the rightful heir, but none would ever admit it. I'm certain it's the case that members of the other houses feel the same. House Khadik is just the only one who's been exposed for it. Razma would believe they want to reintegrate or even reestablish House Maleen, and she's a fool for it. The Zealots want nothing but the means to carry out their war. Credits, weapons, and ships. And these very supplies would be used to harm not only your people, but our own as well. The Council knows nothing of her work with the Zealots, and I aim to keep it that way. All elders have their own ambitions. I'm certain that's all they see. What none of us expected was the disaster that is the Scaled Citadel. The aftermath is what allowed the Zealots to grab Sahima and the others, flipping the balance of power in their favor. Razma has lost control and is putting House Khadik's reputation and power at risk. And that's what I wish to speak to you about. House Khadik shouldn't be associating with Zealots at all, except on an extermination level. But worse, we absolutely cannot be supplying them with ordnance of any kind. We need to cut ties with the Zealots altogether. How astute. I want you to put an end to any connections between House Khadik and the Zealots. And while my position won't allow me to be blunt, I'll still make it clear. Should the hostages not survive, Rasma would blame the Zealots and cut all ties.
House Khadik would go to any lengths, it seems.
Perhaps you don't understand. These noble houses have existed for generations. The people look up to us to guide them under the will of the Great Serpent. The fall of a noble house would put everything into question. And with the state Dazra is in right now, I won't allow that to happen. Those few lives will be nothing compared to the lives the Zealots will take if House Khadik continues to supply them. Sacrificing them would open my sister's eyes, quelling any sympathy and desire to work with the Zealots. Once Rasma no longer sees the Zealots as an ally, the rest will soon follow. What we need is Sahima's research, which she has with her. You just need to bring it back. I see I misjudged you. How unfortunate for us all. Well, should you change your mind, the offer still stands. And Harbinger, this conversation stays between us.
Rasma is under tremendous pressure as of late. Promise. I envy you. As an envoy, I hope to become an agent.
That was quite a leap.
There you are, accursed brute! Now we deliver your stuff!
If you're here to help, that zealot had a key. You have to get me out of here. Who are you?
I have lost your Overreach.
Serpent's Grace, I knew it! I knew she wouldn't just leave us here to rot. It's more than just me. There are others. The Zealots have been using them to force me to continue my research here. They think I have all the answers since the original experiment was a catastrophic failure.
The Zealots were wise in their tactics. Up until now.
The original experiment. The one that took out half of Dazra and sealed off the Scaled Citadel. Surely you must know. I'm sorry. I realize the elders and council members may not be properly disseminating this information. I'm not one for politics, obviously. Well, the Zealots think they are forcing me to continue my research here. They want me to apply my theories to Anasco's Scaled Citadel debacle. Somehow they ascertained my previous involvement. So my theory is correct. Or I should say, the High Council now believes my theory, the better theory, is correct. I knew it! I told them their algorithms and insufficient testing were only giving the illusion of stability. But no one wants to listen to me. Not the girl who put people twice my age to shame when it came to assessments. Of course, this is what it would take for Razma to send someone after me. I wish I could have that mentality. And maybe it's not so much a desire to be cared for as it is a desire for acceptance. I overheard the Zealots mention negotiating with House Kadik, so the motivations are clear. Not only does the High Council deem me important, but Razma needs to remove me from the equation. I get it. But at least now everyone knows I was right. All right. First, we need to free the other hostages. The Zealots aren't aware of how I've been delving into their systems here. I told them I needed full access if they expect me to replicate Anasco's experiment, and I didn't even bother with risk assessment. They think I'm applying my theories to their poor excuse for technology down here. Granted, I could probably make it work if I had to. Right. Focus. The other hostages are being kept just beyond this room. I can disengage the locks to their cell and grant you access to an elevator in the room beyond that will take them to safety. You just have to clear out that area first, and the Zealots down there are... different. Good. Those skills will prove useful then. While you get the rescue underway, I'm going to set up certain guarantees here. I'll meet you and the others outside. And a well-thought-out one at that. I just need enough time to set up a remote device so I can launch a virus that will render this place useless. Think of it as a failsafe to guarantee our safety. The Zealots would never risk this base or their ships. No way. It's probable that we'll make it, and when we do, I'm handing this over to a familiar face. No offense. Now move it. You've got hostages to free.
Another way through here. Unsure where it leads.
aren't a zealot. Who are you? The Great Serpent is merciful. And Tahima? Did you find her yet? I wish it were that easy. The Zealots separated us. Our brethren are still out there. Please, I can ready my people here, but you'll have to deal with the Zealots and rescue the others so we may all escape safely. We'll be ready.
Were our sins really so great that we deserved this?
Great Serpent, protect. Thank the Serpent. I thought I was done for.
I can't wait to see Dasra again.
You did it. You got everyone out.
I thought we would...
You did it! It's true what they say. The air really does smell fresher.
Serpent bless you. We owe you our lives. Thank you.
Yes, since that's truly what's important here. Anyway, it's probably time you started heading to those negotiations. I'm going to stay back a moment and make sure everyone here is okay to make it back safely. I'll catch up with you shortly. Just let me know where the negotiations are taking place. Have I mentioned I'm sick of people telling me what to do? I'm staying. I'll be there when it counts. Now go.
These members of your house have suffered. I can respect your decision.
The Great Serpent was truly watching over us.
If Dasra is to recover, everywhere the Zealots have infiltrated must be cleansed.
Is your intent to be unreasonable? I thought this was a negotiation.
We're having a friendly chat, aren't we? It's not my fault you don't find my offers acceptable.
Nah, just the person I wanted to see. Please tell me you bring good news. Good. Now it's my turn to watch me hail squirm.
Razma, who is this? You allow any commoner to just waltz in on official business. I'd expect better security from House Kadik.
This is hardly official business.
Yes. And now these so-called negotiations are over.
Over? You'd risk everything after the whispers of a stranger. I demand to know who this is. Freestar Rangers have no power here. Only a complete fool would expect me to believe this.
It's true, Mihail. And if you don't leave now, peacefully, I'll make sure your ships and Shadow Station Epsilon are made dust.
You... How did you... You're bluffing.
Test me. You think a genius mind like mine wouldn't find a way to hack into every system in your base? This remote device will launch a virus that will detonate systems within Epsilon, and reach your ships as well.
You realize how this may affect future partnerships, Razma. You'd jeopardize our connections.
It jeopardizes nothing. It merely restores the natural order.
The natural order. I could take you all out here and now. You know every one of us is prepared to answer the Serpent's call.
Are you sure?
You launch that virus, and I guarantee blood will spill. What's there to reconsider? No, but it's the death they know is possible. Besides, you think I'd turn my back on the insults thrown here today?
You mean, do we think you'd throw away your life and the lives of everyone at Shadow Station Epsilon over your pride, Mihail? No, I for one don't think you will. And you can't deny our partnerships have been beneficial for us both.
As much as our people may disagree, Jandar would see you sacrifice your life in direct service to the Great Serpent. Both would have you die, cleansing the accursed, and turning those who may listen to his shadow. You know this to be true, Mihail. A true promised lives only to serve. And your death today would serve nothing.
Blessed sister, you speak truth. I have been blinded by pride, but your words have guided me back to the path. All right. I won't deny my brethren the death they deserve. But I won't forget this either. Don't think this won't change anything, Razma.
Things have already changed, Mihail. From the moment you kidnapped House members. These negotiations are over. Now leave us.
I can't believe the Zealots listened to you.
The Serpent will enjoy watching your back, false promised.
Something I can do for you?
House Kadik is in your debt.
As am I. I owe you my life.
Sahima, you are a part of this house.
I know. I just wanted to say thank you. Personally. And here, it's the research and algorithm the High Council wants. I'm sure they'll appreciate it more coming from you. Oh, I am. Very. I just don't think the High Council is ready for the series of I told you so's that I would surely inundate them with. Plus, I think I'll wait until after they've proven out my theories to approach them on that topic. I'm going to head back home now to check on the others, but maybe come find me later? Great. You can find me at the Great House whenever you get the chance.
We'll talk later, Sahima. As I was saying, House Kadik is in your debt. You've helped me maintain a very precarious balance. And one day it will. But until then, they're a necessary evil. One that we'll be keeping a much closer eye on. I'd appreciate it if you kept this a secret. A fair price to pay for silence. The others involved know better than to speak of this. House ties run deep. Betraying one's house is a display of disloyalty that no house would tolerate. It's a guaranteed way to ostracize yourself in a society like ours. You seem to be understanding our society quite well. Now, I have much to do, and so do you. Ekris and the High Council will be expecting you.
Not looking for company.
There was never a time when I was old enough to be allowed to drink alcohol here.
You do not understand. I saw a Naspo, took measure of his burdens.
What you are describing is a dream, nothing more. Ah, were you able to find Sahima? Perfect. I have no doubt Sahima's work is the key to stabilizing the morning device. If only the others had listened to her, we may not have lost so much of our great city. This leaves houses Dul Kef and Fathol.
Politics can wait. Every moment we delay, Nasco descends further into the void.
For the last time, faith will not remove the barrier. Science will.
It is the hubris of science that failed you in this moment. We reached out to the Great Serpent. This is his reply.
You claim he has forsaken us?
I do no such thing. The Great Serpent's reply is not an answer, but a question. Are we worthy of his grace? Until that is proven, your works will not succeed. To be promised requires more than just faith. This calamity is one test of many we will endure until the shrouding. Just as wine is born from the blood of a grape, our lives are a trial. We must spill our souls before the Great Serpent and countenance his judgment.
It sounds like you agree with me.
And yet, only one is the foundation for the other. But the proof is not in our words. It is in the vision. Anasco's presence still persists in this world, and he seeks our aid.
Fine. I feel like I've lived this argument 1,000 times, and the only way to move past it is to concede to its nonsense. Harbinger, speak to my sister. Agree to her fool's errand so that we may continue the work of saving this city.
What an honor it was to aid you on your path to become one of the